Hi, and welcome to the 5-Minute Mentor. I am your host, Tim J.M. Rohr, and this is the show where we teach mentors a 5-step, 5-minute process for coaching their students and followers to learn how to solve their own problems. It's been a while since our last episode, and we've done some renovations to the studio. We now have a production room over there, and my producer Ron is in there communicating with me and putting up graphics as needed. Since this may be the first episode you've watched, Ron is going to put up a graphic showing the 5-minute mentor process, and we're going to do a quick review. Thank you, Ron. Many people who want to be mentors or coaches are worried about the time commitment. While there are going to be times you'll want to sit down with your student or follower for 30 minutes to an hour, this process allows you to coach them several times each week without a formal meeting. The first step is to learn about the problem or situation. The second step is to ask clarifying questions. For more on how to do that or any of the other steps, please check out previous videos that are available on my YouTube channel or my website, and Ron will give you the URL later on in the show. After the clarifying questions, we ask coaching questions, offer wisdom and suggestions, or support the student ideas if they came up with their own solution, and then confirm the next steps of the student. It's easy and it's quick. Many times the mentor has some advice to give, and they're looking for an opportunity to dispense wisdom. But other times the student initiates the interaction with some information that may not fit a subject that had been on the mind of the mentor. For example, Thomas from Tucson called me the other day to say he had failed his econ exam. As you may have surmised, Thomas is my son attending the University of Arizona at Tucson. I don't hear from him often. Typically, I initiate the phone call, so it was unusual. Perhaps this has happened to you. Someone comes to you and says, "I have to tell you something." Then the something they tell you is disappointing or upsetting. Many of us are eager to fix the problem, or we're annoyed by the news. We jump right into a lecture or a set of specific imperatives. How many times have I discussed the importance of studying with you? You're there to learn, not to party and hang out. And all the while we're doing this, we know that it is both unproductive and potentially damaging to the relationship. Let's think about another approach based on the 5-minute mentor process. The situation is a failed exam. While we would normally ask clarifying questions designed to get the student thinking about a solution, in this case, we need a more empathetic approach to our clarifying questions. These are the feels questions. I'm so sorry about your exam. How are you feeling? Look, I know this is hard, but think about how hard it was for the student to come to you with the bad news in the first place. They would probably have preferred to hide the news and hope you never found out. But lucky for you, that's not the kind of relationship you've developed with your students and followers. No, they trust you with their heart, and that's why they came to you in the first place. Many times a student or follower will tell you something because they want encouragement or a shoulder to cry on. If you're always dispensing wisdom, or lecturing in this case, you might miss the signals and miss a chance to build trust in the relationship. When someone has shown you vulnerability, the last thing you want to do is shatter their damaged psyche further. Getting back to Thomas and his exam, the clarifying questions are not about how did this happen? They are about how does he feel now that it has happened? The answers inform your next move, of course. Thomas said, "I'm disappointed because I studied hard for this exam and I thought I knew the material and the professor threw a curveball." And you might say, yeah, that does happen. When you've demonstrated a lot of support, you'll have the chance to ask the coaching questions, because I know you want to. But you need to make sure the student is ready to move on from the emotion. You'll know it when there's a lag in the conversation. Well, that's water under the bridge, Thomas. I guess the question is, how can you better prepare for the next exam? Now Thomas is being redirected to think about his future actions and away from the disappointment and sadness he has been feeling. He knows what to do. He's in college, not elementary school. You will support his great ideas, and you might even remind him that learning how to overcome setbacks is a part of the college experience. If you did your job at the beginning of the conversation, he should feel pretty good about taking on the challenge of improving his grade. If not, you can remember this conversation when he doesn't want to come home for Christmas as an adult. I'm kidding. I'm sure you handled it great. That's all the time we have for today. If you have questions or you want to watch other videos or read some of my work or even order my book, just visit my website, www.timjmrohr.com. Until next time, let's get after it.